No?
Hi folks, Rich here from Garrick's Camera House at Maroochydore, and I'm with Larissa. How are you?
I'm good, Rich. How are you?
Yeah, great. Welcome to our new studio, by the way.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Can't wait to get in here and have a little play.
Yeah, well, I think we're all going to have a bit of a play, so it's all very new to us. Folks, Larissa is both a Sunshine Coast photographer, but more than that, she has a wearable art, what would you call it, body of work that you've been continuing now for how many years?
Wearable art's been going on for about 3 years now.
Right.
Yeah.
So how does someone get into wearable art, or where does it all start? Photographer first? Is that the way it rolled?
Yeah, photographer first. Well, actually I was a personal carer first and ended up in a severe motor vehicle accident, which sort of rendered my body unuseful to be pushing people around in wheelchairs and helping them. So I needed to focus on something else that I loved doing, which was my hobby, and that was photography.
Great.
So my journey went from photography for about 15 years, just learning myself. I haven't done any studies in photography, just did it all online pretty much.
Self-taught?
Self-taught photographer, yep. And then I made a wearable art dress out of Charles Dickens' pages out of a book, which was just a Reader's Digest book, so I didn't want to be using a good Charles Dickens one. And I had the lovely Wendy Rowe from Australian Wearable Art got in touch with me and said, we'd like to use your dress in advertising for Australian Wearable Art.
Right.
So I started following the Australian Wearable Art path and continued to make more costumes and continued to use them in my photography.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
I met Larissa at the Nambour show up in the Arts Pavilion, where Garrick's also has a display up there, but you had an enormous installation.
Yeah, it was quite crazy.
Yeah, it must have taken, I think we were all packed up,
I
was set up, and you were still setting up, and when we packed up and went home, you were still packing
I was still
up.
unpacking, yeah, that's right. I had Jenny Mackay give me a call saying, we've got all these new mannequins in for the show and we'd like you to dress them. So I was like, oh, okay, Jenny, we've got all these works that were supposed to be in Australian Wearable Art last year for 2020, but unfortunately we had COVID, so they weren't able to be used. And my works, some of them are made out of hot glue gun glue sticks, so they do disintegrate. So I thought I'm just going to use those and make a whole new lot of gowns for next year's competition. Yeah.
Well, folks, if you've never seen one of Larissa's art installations, well, you're in for a treat, because later this year in November,
I think it was around the 26th.
The 26th, we'll put that in the notes underneath the video. There will be an art installation. One of Larissa's dresses will be on display here in the store. So we encourage everyone to come in with their camera and photograph that. Larissa, we're looking at some beautiful images coming through behind, all a combination of both your wearable art and your photography.
Yes.
When you actually have this art installation here, we're going to use a weekend to do a workshop, and you're actually going to show people, first of all, how to do the wearable art, or how they can make a simple wearable art concept for themselves.
Yes.
And then photograph that wearable art, and then is it composite images? Is that what we're seeing mostly here?
Yeah, some of them are composite images, some of them are just normal images. I do like playing with composites.
Yeah.
I do like using textures.
Look, I've got to say, when I look at most of your work, I think what comes to mind is beautiful spookiness, or how do you describe a lot of your work?
I describe it as whimsical fantasy.
Okay, great.
And a very dark, like this image that you can see now is very whimsical and dark and mysterious.
Well, let's just go back to that image for a second. So if we were looking at that image, what were the components? What has to actually go into that?
Well, first I had two models that were willing to get naked in front of my eye.
Yeah, okay, good.
We went out to my brother's property, which is a farm called the Sanctuary out in Kenilworth, and I created a nest, which is the big nest that you can see that the lady's lying in. And then it's not a composite, it's just things that I fiddled around with, textures and colours and sliding scales, you know what you do?
Right, absolutely.
Yeah, and created that, and it was called the bowerbird.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. Yeah, very nice.
Thank you.
Okay, can we have a look at a couple of others? Is there one here that might be one of your favourites, perhaps?
this background is a background that you can get from another photographer in America. Her name's Brooke Shaden.
Oh, yes.
So she's given away her background, so I used that background. And that was my daughter, and she was just simply jumping on a trampoline, capture and freeze her in motion, and then drop her on top of that image.
And will you actually be doing a demonstration at that workshop so that people that may not have ever done a composite image before can get a look and a feel for how that's done?
I can do that.
Yeah, Brooke Shaden, I do. I suppose you've been inspired by Brooke?
Very much. I went down and saw Brooke Shaden in Melbourne, not last year, the year before, just before COVID, and oh my goodness.
Yeah.
She's just amazing.
Yeah, she is. I saw her maybe 4 or 5 years ago in Melbourne, and she put together a composite jumping off the wharf.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, into the freezing cold water too. Yeah, she's very game. All right, well, Larissa, we're very much looking forward to that workshop. So we're going to put the dates on our event page on the Facebook. Also, tell me, you've got a Facebook page.
I do, Hinterland Avant-Garde Creatives. I host once a month a creative group shoot where photographers come out with me and we go and shoot one of my wearable art gowns, or as we did last weekend, it was 4 people, which was quite great for Halloween. And
absolutely.
It was very spooky. So,
I get a lot of great feedback from local photographers that have actually joined you on those. What do you call them? Just
group shoots.
Group shoots.
Hinterland Avant-Garde Creativity group shoots.
Great. So make sure you go on to Larissa's Facebook page. Both it's the Hinterland
Avant-Garde Creatives
and like that.
Yep, and Larissa Salton Photography.
Just your personal page.
Yeah.
Terrific. All right, folks. Well, make sure you come in and check out this art installation that we're going to have in the store in November. It's going to be made up of all vintage photography magazines, and basically what you cut, fold, paste.
Fold, paste,
Yep.
staple, glue.
It's going to be worth bringing your camera down to take some shots. Thanks, Larissa. Thanks for coming in.
Very much.
Thanks for joining us, folks, and we hope we'll see you at Larissa's Creative Workshop.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Oh my God. That's fun.